Together, we can prevent further tragedies, and we can make Montgomery a safer place every day. Thank you. I believe we'll open it up for questions. Yes, sir.
I guess just my first question would be for the mayor. You said you had been on the scene June. I believe you're second in a little over a year. The scene that you've been to. I mean, what goes through your mind when you're on these scenes? Did it change the way that you meet the city?
Well, I think anytime you're on a crime scene and you see what our men and women, the police department are doing each and every day, it brings it home a lot more in terms of just what that human impact is, not only on those that are directly impacted, those that are indirectly impacted, those people that are nearby in their homes, nearby in their businesses, whatever it may be. I think, for us, it's a matter of making sure that not only we have a better understanding of what's happened, but why it happened and how to prevent it from happening next time. That's why I mentioned some of the business owners have some responsibility here. Some of the landlords have some responsibility here, as well as some of the parties that Chief mentioned. Those that are around these situations have some responsibility here. And I think anytime we're on the scene, it's more so, one, to make sure that we have a good grasp of what's taking place. Also to, again, thank our law enforcement professionals for what they do. And also, again, just to reassure the community that each and every incident like this is going to be taken seriously, regardless of what the circumstances may be.
Yes, sir. Well, the thing about it is the big common denominator, the largest common denominator is the actual conflict resolution. It is the idea of making sure that people understand that they can walk away, that every slight does not necessarily require a violent response, that every relationship, when it's time to end, maybe if somebody doesn't want you anymore, you walk away. Or maybe, if you are upset about something, the best thing to do is to walk away. I mean, it's really simple advice, but I can tell you, before I became the police chief here, long ago, I used to work at Alabama State University, and when I worked there, one program I used to participate was in what was called the pre-release program at some of the local correctional institutes, and I would talk to some of the inmates there. And one of the key things I learned about doing that, which was really interesting, because I would talk to them about conflict resolution. I would talk to them about the fact that, hey, just because your ex is outside the door banging on it doesn't mean you have to actually open it. You can call the police. And it was obvious to me that a lot of these people who were in prison had never thought of that idea before. People need to start thinking about these simple ideas, because ideas are tools. You don't have to open the door because your ex is outside screaming at you. You don't have to answer the phone because your ex is trying to call you. If somebody's bothering you, you can sign warrants on them. You can call the police. If you're mad at somebody, really mad, or you think, let's say your boyfriend has a new girlfriend, you don't actually have to drive over there to find out. You can break up. Basically, people need to start thinking along these lines, and the people who love the folks who don't necessarily have those ideas need to start telling these ideas to them, teaching them. And at the same time, if you know somebody who, let's say, might be on the edge of doing something major, well, if they're doing something minor, call us then. Let us arrest them for a misdemeanor. Or if they have a gun that they shouldn't have, call us, let us collect the gun, because now suddenly you've changed the whole equation before something bad took place. People have got to be observant and be involved in their loved ones' lives. while I can't give you the specific details related to how we utilize technology beyond what we typically do in a press release, I can tell you that we are utilizing the most current police technology in working these particular cases. And of course, we're also utilizing the old standard or true, which is basically hard work and long hours.
Chief and Mayor, politics aside, with these interpersonal relationships, and this is for both of you all, if you can, just talk about, usually in these situations, there are certain organizations that you work with that you have that tool in your toolbox. We know grants have been cut, so when you call those people, there are fewer people who, have social workers or people on the phone who can talk to domestic violence victims, give them some advice about what to do. How concerned are you that those tools in your toolbox are no longer there?
Well, listen, I think anytime you have community partners who've been doing this work on the front end, that's something that not only we need, it's something that we highlight, it's something that we desperately need. Not having, excuse me, the breadth of support for some of them is troubling. And I think we have to try to find different ways to support them so that they can support the community and fill those gaps that government can. But we want to make sure that, for all those organizations that are out there, that we help them any way we can. And we know that all of them, whether they're focused on domestic violence, whether they're focused on substance abuse, or whether they're focused on just community violence intervention, are doing the best they can with what they have. It's up to us to try to make sure we can do our part and be creative to fill in those funding gaps that have been cut, that have been slashed over the last year or so. It's also up to the community, to step up and help us in that endeavor as well. It's going to take all of us to, again, I think, reduce these incidents of violence that we have in our community, in particular where interpersonal relationships are so key, because somebody knows something usually before it happens. Maybe they don't think somebody will go through with it. Maybe they don't think somebody will stand behind their words, but what we're seeing is far too often that's the case, and far too often they're preventable. So between the organizations and the community and what MPD is trying to do each and every day, we have to continue to just keep our heads down, do the work, and continue to try to have that impact regardless of the type of funding or regardless of the type of support that we currently have.
Yes, sir. Also, to add to what the mayor's talking about, we in Montgomery are lucky because we do have some very good organizations, and I'm going to make mention of them at this point because it actually stands to some of the other questions people have asked about what people in the community can do. We have the Family Guidance Center. We have the Family Justice Center. We have Vocal. These organizations alone, and there's more. And in fact, actually, I will ask my PIO to get some of the contact information so you can post them. I think some of y'all have them, so I would ask you to post them on your stories on the web, because one of the key things I would say is, as I said earlier about family members, people getting involved, one of the key things, the key gap you would have here really is you have organizations that want to help people. You have law enforcement agency, you have the city administration. We're all in on this, okay? But that missing piece is people in the community or family members who, when they know there's an issue, contact these organizations, contact these groups that will reach out to help, because they help with so many things. They can help people with finding new locations. They can help people with legal issues because, domestic relationships sometimes encompass a lot of legal issues. So I would ask y'all to make sure we get that information posted so members of the community, when they see these situations arising, can start making the phone calls to getting people involved and getting services to folks and getting us involved as we can, to be preventative rather than us having to be reactive.
Mayor, I know community violence intervention, conflict resolution has been a big emphasis for you for a while now. Is there anything new initiative-wise that we can expect, whether that be from you or city council, or anything that you've been talking about with?
Well, I think for us is to make sure we continue to fund those initiatives. As some of the grant dollars from the American Rescue Plan Act runs out, we want to make sure we continue to fund those and we expand them. We're expanding the Office of Violence Prevention. We look to make a greater impact with our CVI team, our Community Violence Intervention team, as well hospital-based violence intervention programs, and then trying to make sure we're working not only with our schools and our churches and houses of worship, but also with our grassroots and community leaders and other organizations. So we want to continue to evolve and adapt to where things are and to make sure that we're reaching people with those that they're going to listen to. Doesn't make a lot of sense if we're just yelling at the wall. We've got to make sure that we're going where people are, we're talking to them in a way that they can relate to, and we're listening to them in a way that we can relate to. It takes both in order to do that, and I think just getting people out of the habit of going to the extreme when it comes to how they respond to a certain issue. And these things take time. It didn't happen overnight. It won't be solved overnight, but it does get better if we continue to focus on it and work at it. All right. Thank y'all very much. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.